The Intergalactic Adventures of TOPCATS. This story takes place in the year 3000, when almost anything is possible. But our hero is not any ordinary hero. But then this is not any ordinary story. His name is Victor Fang, and he is a vampire. Every day, or rather every night, Victor woke up in his very comfortable coffin, got out to get dressed, and hummed to himself as he headed up the stairs from the basement to the kitchen. There he would greet his best friend, a bear named Boris, who usually had some crazy machinery on the kitchen table. Boris was an excellent mechanic and was always tinkering away, mending old motorbikes or computers, or even working on new inventions. There was plenty of space in their house for inventions. They lived on a quiet little street somewhere in London, surrounded by brick terraced houses. But their house was different. It was a creepy old mansion house that all the local kids thought was haunted. They never saw anyone go in, and they never saw anyone come out. Who would have thought that a vampire and his mechanic bear lived there? Luckily, you can get almost anything delivered to your door, and so over a few months, Boris had been receiving the parts to make his own spaceship. Yes, you heard me right, a spaceship. Being 400 years old, Victor had saved up quite a lot of money, and it was his one wish to travel into space. It was a dark, quiet night when they left the Earth, bound for planet Poppins. The neighbourhood shook as the spaceship fired up. Cried Boris.
One small step for a man!
One massive step for vampire kind, cried Victor, and then the countdown began.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1!
After a few hours in space, Victor and Boris were hungry, and so they stopped off at Space Services, where you can fuel your spaceship, have a rest, and get something nice to eat.
Ready?
Boris roared, pointing to a food place. Victor saw that Boris was pointing to Comet Fried Caterpillar and joined the queue. There was a very long queue, as the food was so tasty. But the vampire wasn't looking at all the aliens in the queue. He was watching a robot instead. The robot was busking. He was playing a piano, singing and dancing for those in the queue, and the vampire thought he was amazing.
Crunchy on the outside and gooey in the middle.
Victor and Boris sat down with their food and they beckoned the robot to come over. Victor said, "I've never seen a singing, dancing robot before.
You are amazing.
Please sit down with us." The robot told them that his name was Reggie the Rockin' Robot, and that it was his big dream to play a big concert in front of thousands of fans. "Why don't you come with us to Planet Poppins?" said Victor, and Boris growled enthusiastically. "We're heading to Space London, and I have heard there is a massive stage at Big Ben in space." Well, he didn't need to ask Reggie twice. They loaded the piano onto Boris's rocket, and off to Planet Poppins they went. Within days, the venue had been booked and thousands of tickets had been sold. Oh, Reggie the Rockin' Robot was going to be huge. On the morning of the concert, Victor, Boris and Reggie walked onto the stage. Reggie stood in the middle of the stage, gazing out to where all of the audience would be. "This is fantastic!" he cried. But their attention was drawn to the side of the stage where there was a terrible hammering and crashing noise.
Ah!
Cried a creature who was smashing up Reggie's piano. "No!" cried Reggie, clunking across the stage towards the creature. "What are you doing?" When the creature looked up, they could see it was a zombie who said, "My name is Zang the Zombie, and I hate pianos. I always longed to be the piano player in a band, but no one likes zombies and they wouldn't let me. So if I can't play the piano, no one will." Well, security arrived on the scene and they took Zang the Zombie off to Space Tower of London. But it was too late for Reggie's piano. "It's the last piano in space," he wailed. "There aren't no pianos anymore. People have forgotten how to make them. With no piano, my concert has been ruined. All is lost." "Not necessarily," said Victor. "Boris, do you still have that old walkie-talkie you fixed up? I have some friends back on Earth who I think might just be able to help." Boris rummaged in his rucksack and handed Victor a walkie-talkie with a pleasant growl. "Hello? Hello, yes? Is that TOPCATS? Victor Fang here. I don't suppose you still have that old piano, do you?" "Yes." "You do? Well, that is just fantastic. And can you fly it out to me? In your spaceship? Fueled by TOPCATS drumming? Well, that would be simply marvelous." And so it was that back down on Earth, TOPCATS loaded up the piano into their rocket. They strapped themselves in.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hello!
They landed just in the nick of time, pushing the piano in front of a delighted Reggie the Rockin' Robot just as the audience were arriving and taking their seats. "How can I ever thank you?" grinned Reggie. There were so many happy tears in his eyes, he was in danger of rusting. "I have an idea," said Victor. "Perhaps TOPCATS can be your band." And so it was that the concert was saved and was the best one that space had ever seen.
I'll give you an intro. Get your instruments ready, even if they're imaginary. Reggie the Rockin' Robot. Reggie the Rockin' Robot. Reggie the Rockin' Robot. Reggie the Rockin' Robot. Yeah, I love my piano. I love my piano. I love my piano. I love my piano. Yeah. Strumming my guitar. Strumming my guitar. Strumming my guitar.
our story doesn't finish there. The sounds of music and the cheers of the crowd reached Zang the zombie within his cell at Space Tower of London. It made his heart feel happy to hear the music, and he started to gather together all the bits of space junk that were littering his cell. Smiling, he pieced them together until standing in front of him was a piano. It might have looked like lots of bits of junk all pieced together, but it sounded wonderful. Zang sat down and started to play Reggie's song. The tower guards came running to his cell and brought out Zang, cheering and calling for everyone to come and listen to him. Now Zang the zombie runs his very own piano business, making new pianos from old junk so that there is no longer an intergalactic shortage of pianos. Zang is the happiest he's ever been. Everyone loves him and his pianos, and his number one customer is, you've guessed it, Reggie the Rockin' Robot.